In Clemson University's College of Engineering and Science, student superlatives are considered especially exceptional. These students are recognized for their amazing accomplishments at an annual celebration. These are their stories.
The Samuel B. Earle Award recognizes the most outstanding senior in engineering, based on scholarship and character. Our 2013 honoree is Heather Sprague. The Women in Science and Engineering program has played a major role in her undergraduate experience.
Well, I started being involved in Women in Science and Engineering freshman year. Every freshman girl is paired with a senior or upperclassman big sister, and so my big sister contacted me and invited me to hang out and do things and whatnot, and I'm trying to make friends, and so I went to them, and she turned out to be awesome, and we bonded, and to this day is one of my best friends. And so the next year I knew that I wanted to be a big sister, because how else are you going to get paid to hang out with cool people? So I applied for that and got the job and have been doing that ever since. And I don't know, I love being a WISE big sister. I've met a lot of really great friends.
Heather's WISE experience actually began in high school when she visited Clemson for the WISE Choice Weekend. Admitted students shadow classes and spend time with upperclassmen so they can really get a feel for what Clemson life is all about. Even now, 4 years later, as she contemplates graduate school, WISE is still an important influence in her life.
I'm planning on going to grad school either at UC Berkeley or UC Davis, going into environmental engineering, and going out to visit over spring break. My WISE big sister actually is at UC Davis right now, and I guess that's how I had heard of Davis, but looked in their program, and their projects look awesome. At Davis, I would be working on Lake Tahoe, doing water quality research, really similar to research I did over the summer at an REU. And then it would also have kind of an outreach portion of, how can we make this data available to the public. My whole life is WISE.
The Robert W. Morman Award recognizes the most outstanding junior in engineering, based on scholarship and character. This year's honoree, Ross Bepler, is changing people's lives half a world away and in his own backyard.
I got involved my very first semester with a project that they were working on in Liberia, but since then I've transitioned and done a lot more work in Nicaragua, and I actually had the chance to go to Nicaragua with Engineers Without Borders my sophomore year, and we laid the foundation for a school, which was just a kind of a life-changing experience, really, being there and interacting with these people, because it changed my worldview a lot and really made me grateful for some of the things that we have here that you take for granted sometimes. It was awesome at the end to be able to feel like we left something positive there, and that was a really good feeling. And also, it made me really appreciate when I came back all of the opportunities that I've been given here even more.
Ross is also making an impact a little closer to home, just across town, in fact.
Growing up, I was a big soccer player. It was, a significant part of my life. And I got to Clemson, and I wasn't doing that anymore, but I missed it. And so I wanted to find a way to stay involved with soccer. So I went to YMCA and said, hey, I'm interested, and they said, great, we'd love to have you. So I got a friend of mine, and we did a co-coaching thing our first year, and I use the term coaching loosely because we ended up with a team of 3- and 4-year-olds. So it was a bit of a different experience than I was anticipating, but it ended up being a ton of fun. We had a kind of a running tradition. We were the superheroes. So me and my co-coach would always go out there, and every practice we'd be wearing capes. And so we had this theme for these 3- and 4-year-olds. This will be my, I think, 6th season, and I'm looking forward to it a lot.
This summer, Ross will complete an internship at the National Renewable Energy Lab in Boulder, Colorado, where he will further develop his understanding of energy science and public policy. The Outstanding Senior Award in the Sciences recognizes a pending graduate who has exhibited outstanding scholarship and character. One faculty nominator says, "This year's honoree has been the best Clemson undergraduate student he has ever interacted with." These accolades in the 2013 Outstanding Senior Award in the Sciences belong to Ben Schroeder.
My sister was already here when I came to Clemson. She was a senior when I was a freshman. And I applied to 4 schools. I got into 3. And I visited here, Ohio State, and Illinois Wesleyan. And when I was on campus here, I really liked it. I've just gotten a chance to do really interesting things in physics, and the faculty here have been very helpful for advanced topics that aren't regularly offered.
Some of the interesting things Ben has done involve undergraduate research. His work in computational modeling of atmospheric processes contributed to an article that is currently in review for the Journal of Geophysical Research. His senior thesis explores quantum computation and theoretical condensed matter physics. When he's not in class or the lab, he can be found tutoring in the undergraduate physics lounge or working on projects for Sigma Pi Sigma.
Sigma Pi Sigma is the Physics Honor Society. We were awarded a couple thousand, I think it might be exactly 2,000, from the American Institute of Physics to build a cyclotron, which is a big circle and it spins up charged particles, and then we can use that to slam them into a target and see what happens. I wasn't a huge football fan before I came here. Then my sister, who was a senior my freshman year, made me go to the games. It's really exciting in the stands. I'm going to grad school next year. I've got acceptances to Ohio State, Wisconsin, and Texas A&M. I visited Wisconsin last weekend and I liked it a lot. I'm visiting Ohio State tomorrow. Home is in Dublin, Ohio, which is 20 minutes from campus at Ohio State. So I think I'm going to like it there pretty well as well.
The 2013 Outstanding Junior Award in the Sciences, which recognizes a third-year undergraduate for scholarship and character, goes to Michael Brady.
Well, I came to Clemson because I started as I did a college board search for different colleges, and Clemson came up as a good choice for me. And so I came and visited, and it was a beautiful campus for starters, and then I interacted with a lot of the people who were on campus, and everyone seemed so friendly and welcoming and opening. Everyone was so friendly, it felt like family, and that's the kind of experience I wanted when I came to college.
Like several of tonight's honorees, Michael shares his knowledge and expertise by tutoring other students.
My favorite thing about tutoring is when you help someone through it and then they can do it on their own, and you can see that light bulb moment when they finally understand something. I think it's one of the most satisfying things you can do.
Michael's undergraduate research deals with fluorine. Much of the work is proprietary, but the focus is generally on medicinal or industrial applications.
There's Dr. Thrasher's lab. I go there when I have free time, and I work there. That's over at the Advanced Materials Center in Anderson. And then I also have class labs that I have scheduled, and right now I have a 5-hour lab, so that takes a good chunk of my time out.
In spite of a heavy class, lab, and research load, Michael makes time for a special diversion.
In high school, I was in my first show, and I fell in love with it. It's one of my other favorite things to do is get on a stage, and they're just a completely different person. I think it's a wonderful escape, or just a different thing that I do. I made a friend in my freshman class who was a theater major, and she told me that I should audition for this show last year. And I got in, and I met a bunch of new people who I'm friends with today. To any student looking at Clemson, I would tell them that it's definitely a good choice to come here. That you'll make a lot of nice friends and everything, but you'll also get a really good education if you put the work into it. That's one thing I always want to tell people is you only get out of it what you put into it, no matter where you go.
The J. Wesley Davis Leadership Award honors the memory of a Clemson electrical engineering graduate who served as president of the Clemson University Engineering Foundation. This award recognizes a senior engineering student for outstanding scholarship, leadership in a student engineering organization, and high potential for success in the engineering profession. This year's honoree is Colin Burns Hefner.
Engineering World Health is an organization that is helping with hospitals in developing worlds and just helping with the medical technology that is donated to those hospitals. And what I've been able to do is utilize my experience that I gained through my creative inquiry to help assume a leadership role in that organization and really help out there.
Colin has taken the opportunity to study abroad, providing experiences that have given him a unique worldview.
In Pamplona, we took two different classes. There was a bioethics class, which was taught by a Spanish surgeon, and then we also had a Spanish language and culture class. So it kind of take some little tours, see culture, take Spanish classes. So it was a good combination of just the language and the culture, and then also seeing the medical side of things. We talked in the ethics class. We talked a lot about just kind of seeing the point of view of how they think about different medical ethics in Europe as opposed to the United States, and just kind of compare and contrast that kind of thing, which was a really good world perspective to see. Last summer, through National Science Foundation, I did an REU through NNIN, which is the National Nanotechnology Infrastructure Network, at Penn State. So I did research at Penn State all last summer, working with microfluidics and all that kind of stuff, just kind of relating nanotechnology to biomedicine. And so they have a follow-up program, which I didn't know about at the time, where it's an international REU. So they take just the people that did research with them the previous summer, and you can apply for a few different sites. I think Japan, Germany, France. I think they do the Netherlands also. So I applied for Japan to basically continue not the same research, but a similar kind of topic. So I'll be doing research there this summer on controlling cellular function using nanoparticles and nanostructured surfaces.
Each college selects a Phi Kappa Phi honoree. Candidates must be graduating seniors with a GPA of 3.4 or above, and must have made noteworthy contributions in areas such as leadership, service, and creative endeavors to their department, college, and Clemson University. The College of Engineering and Science honoree for 2013 is Lee Allison.
So I'm a double major in biosystems engineering and civil engineering. I'm also on the club rowing team. It's a time commitment, all three for sure. I have to do a lot of time management. I take a full course load every semester, 16, 18, 20 hours, and I practice every afternoon from 5 to 7, which is the best part of my day. I get to row on one of the prettiest lakes and see a sunset almost every day. And it's a great stress reliever. It's great for health and physical activity.
As a double major, Lee was required to complete 2 senior design capstone projects. For her biosystems capstone, she was part of a team that designed sustainable retrofits for an existing outbuilding. The goal was to create a demonstration structure for guests and visitors to illustrate how homeowners can easily install sustainable technology. For her civil engineering capstone, Lee is part of a team designing a mid-size music venue for the greater Clemson area. The building will have a capacity of about 1,500 people and will also serve as a movie theater.
The 2 different majors really bring a lot of different approaches. So now that I'm in a lot of my upper level classes, I get to use like foundation material that I've learned from both, and it really adds like a different dynamic to a lot of my projects, which is cool. So I've applied for AmeriCorps and the Student Conservation Association, and I'll hear back from them in a couple of months. I feel really lucky for being at Clemson and to have all the opportunities that I have, so it'd be great to have the time to give back, and then I know I want to go to graduate school, so it'd be a good leadway into graduate school and then into a career in industry.
Funds generated from Tigerama allow for a Blue Key honoree to be named from each of Clemson's 5 colleges. These honorees have distinguished themselves in academic scholarship and campus leadership. The College of Engineering and Science's 2013 Blue Key awardee is Kate Gasparo.
You know, after seeing 24 other schools, I knew that Clemson was going to be the best fit for me. I walked on campus, I immediately got that feeling that everyone talks about. I think from day one I drank the orange Kool-Aid, and I just fell in love with the people here and how passionate the students were, the faculty were, and the staff were. And ever since then it's been just a love affair with Clemson and me.
Like many of her engineering colleagues, Kate has had the opportunity to expand her knowledge through international study. Her civil engineering major and her political science minor have given her a unique skill set. From Latin America to Europe, Kate has explored the marriage of public policy and community infrastructure. However, many of her travels had nothing to do with her academic interests.
I'm in the marching band, which just like adds to the list of things that I somehow end up in. The first 2 years I was here, I played piccolo in the marching band, and it's just a really fun community. The band is made up of a lot of really interesting, quirky people, and we get along so well, and it's so much fun to go to games and perform in the amphitheater, then parade down to Death Valley, and then also to travel. I've been all over the country for marching band. They actually flew me from California to the Orange Bowl in Miami last year, to the Chick-fil-A Bowl this year, and I don't think I would have been able to excel the way I have without having such a good basis of staff, faculty, students, peers who have just encouraged me to go and pursue my passions.
Each year, the College of Engineering and Science recognizes 2 graduate researchers who have been singled out by faculty as having conducted outstanding research during the school year. This year's honorees are Lei Wang and Zhe Zhang. Lei, a third-year PhD student in civil engineering, is completing his doctorate under the direction of his advisor, Xian Zhang, who is the Glenn Advisor of Civil Engineering. In 2010, the Civil Engineering Department initiated a working group focused on the general theme of robust design of infrastructure for disaster resilience, with the intent to foster research collaboration among the faculty from different areas of the department. Lei was one of the 3 recruits who came to Clemson in 2010. Lei received his MS degree from China's top civic engineering program at Tongji University. Lei joined the Robust Design Working Group and began to explore ways of transforming conventional approaches. Traditional civil engineering design processes can lead to a dilemma between over-designing for safety and under-designing for cost savings. Lei's goal was to include robustness along with the consideration of safety and cost. Lei reviewed the literature, performed preliminary analyses, and found out what worked and what did not, and investigated suitable robustness measures. Lei's work played a critical role in obtaining a $400,000 National Science Foundation grant. Since beginning his doctoral work, he has been the primary author of 6 published papers, and he has 4 others in various stages of review. Zhe Zhang is a PhD candidate who expects to receive his doctorate this spring. In fact, Zhe expects to receive not 1, but 2 PhDs.
He will be getting PhD in physics from Clemson University and PhD in life sciences from University of Paris at France. So this is a thing that, as far as I know, nobody has achieved so far in Clemson. Second, he's first author and co-author of so many papers, and his publishing record is practically equivalent to a young faculty member.
As the senior graduate student in the lab, Zhe is currently supervising 2 other PhD students in their research on human genetic variations and their effects on human diseases. Since beginning his graduate study at Clemson in 2010, he has authored 12 peer-reviewed papers, a remarkable level of productivity. After applying for numerous postdoc positions at institutes like Harvard and Stanford, Zhe has accepted an offer from the Oak Ridge National Laboratory in Tennessee. Outstanding Teaching Assistant Awards are presented to 2 graduate assistants who have been recognized by faculty, students, and fellow graduate teaching assistants as exemplary. The 2013 honorees are Shannon Steffel and Dania Zentut. Shannon is an effective teaching assistant because she can identify with the trepidation many undergraduates feel about math and science. She began her bachelor's as a French major, but found she wasn't being challenged, so she made a quantum leap to physics.
And when I first started, it was a struggle. It was incredibly difficult, especially my first physics class. I was terrified to go in the first day. Everything was hard, everything was new. I had to read the book over and over again and try things over and over again. It took me so much longer to understand everything than everyone else in my class. I would ask these questions thinking that I was the only person in the room who didn't know it, and then would find out later half of my classmates would come up to me and tell me, "I'm so glad you asked that question. I had no idea what was going on."
Most of Shannon's students are non-physics majors, so they bring a variety of backgrounds and skills to class.
They don't all learn the same way. They don't all learn at the same pace. So each student is different. You need to change your approach to best suit every student's needs. You're just trying different combinations until you reach them. And then you get to this point where they completely, they understand it. And they're shocked by it. And that's such an amazing feeling when their confidence immediately shifts from, I can't do this, I don't understand. And you reach them and they just, they're so proud of themselves. And to a professor, maybe it's not as important, but to them, that could be a life-altering moment for them where their confidence just clicks on. And I think that is the most rewarding thing for me, is when you reach them and it's somebody who is struggled and then they start to get it and they are so proud of themselves. To me, that is the reason that I teach.
Linda Nilsson, Director of Clemson's Office of Teaching Effectiveness and Innovation, had this to say about Danya Zantut. Danya is among the finest 5 or so instructors, whether novice or seasoned, that I have ever observed.
It's part of my philosophy also right now, because I really want to keep everybody in STEM fields, in math and science, and this is what matters to the United States. Now that I made the United States my adopted home, I feel this is my goal, to make the students really being engaged in math and science and keep them there. So now you do the extra mile, you go that extra mile to keep them and attract them, and so it's more effort. I mean, office hours are really, I've seen students in my class doing giant leaps. You know, just because coming to office hours and seeing, well, they believe that they can achieve something. And it's all part of this, you know, it's all about, you know, letting them feel that achievement is possible. I think most of them have been, like, you know, stripped of the hope that masses can be feasible for them. And I try to reverse that equation for them all the time. I try to tell them, like, you can succeed, and it's all about encouraging them, motivating them. I mean, this is my goal, to let them love the subject and change their conceptions about it. Like, they have bad misconception from before, and I always tell them, like, if you feel bad about math, I mean, let's try to do a new thing in the classroom. Let's try to forget your previous experiences and start from the beginning. Math is like a language to translate really what's happening in your mind. So this is how I see it.
Making their mark and leaving their paw prints around the world, these young people are true Clemson ambassadors, carrying the banner of achievement while using their knowledge, skills, and talents for the betterment of all.